Testing, testing. Hi, everyone. So, welcome to our new podcast, episode one. So, my name is Mark. I'm going to be one of your hosts. Okay, so what is this podcast going to be about? So, we're going to dive into a lot of topics. We're going to talk mainly on the carnivore diets. We're going to talk about all aspects around health and fitness. We're going to be bringing guests on who have actually done the carnivore diet and are doing actually quite well. We're going to focus on keto. We're going to focus on a lot on motivation. This podcast is going to pretty much have a little bit of everything on it, and hopefully it adds some value to you. So let's start off with my story. So I've been doing carnivore now for the last 3 years. It's working really, really well for me. It's changed my life. I've always had a history of eating disorders. I always struggled with my food, and I was always on the lookout of finding a diet that actually suits me and suits my lifestyle. I've done all the diets. I found that when I done the diets, I was always hungry. I always struggled um, to keep my hunger at bay. I would get in shape very, very easy, but equally I would lose that shape very, very quickly. So I never had food freedom. I never was in a position where I was actually happy with what I seen. Whereas now I feel I'm a lot more relaxed. This weight has given me a huge emphasis on my life. I have no longer any more struggles with hunger. Um, and everything's really, really good. So what about you, for Victoria?
Hi there, I'm Victoria Olson, and I've been a carnivore for over 6 years now, going on 7 years. I came to it from keto for 3 years, and it really changed my life. I had been stuck on the couch with a spinal injury. I had a herniated disc and five desiccated discs. It prevented me from standing for even more than 2 minutes at a time. It was very painful. And I was medicating myself with alcohol because I didn't want to get on opiates. Nice trade off there, not really. So I discovered that carnivore made a difference for me. It was a little more strict than keto. There are no plants consumed on the carnivore diet, and in 6 months' time, my back pain that had lasted about 7 years was gone, and I was off the couch and off the alcohol too. So that was one big healing that happened to me thanks to carnivore. But because of it, I became very enthused and I studied to become a diet coach and started a Facebook group to have the subject introduced to other people. And we're doing really well. We've got about 23,000 members, and everybody's very active, participating and sharing what they've learned about carnivore.
Yeah, so my story is pretty much different. I suffered, as I mentioned, I suffered with an awful lot of eating disorders. So at the very, very beginning, I was anorexic. I was anorexic for about 4 years. The lowest weight I got down to was around 56 pounds. And then pretty much straight after that, I became obese, and where I bulked up to around, I think it was well over 200 pounds. And that happened in the space of 3 years. So I've always had this bad relationship with food. And I was always trying to chase the perfect physique. And I didn't know which way to go. When we look around now, there are so many diets on social media, but they all resemble the same thing. They all resemble a calorie deficit. And everybody speaks about calorie deficit, but the one thing I noticed when we were focusing on a lot of calorie deficits is, yes, I got in shape, but I was always, always, always constantly hungry, and I would really struggle to hold on to my physique. Um, because when I got very, very lean, I'd be so hungry, I would actually binge on a lot of food. So there would have been times at the weekend where I could literally put away a lot of food. And it was only until I came on the carnivore diet, I actually learned what proper nutrition was. I understood the value of, okay, you actually don't need any carbohydrates in your diet whatsoever in order to live, or to get your energy. I always was led to believe that we need to have carbohydrates. When we were back in high school or back in school, we were always told that we need to follow the food pyramids. carbohydrates were our main source of fuel. How wrong we were. And as I mentioned, this way of eating has actually literally changed my life. I no longer have any more depression issues. My gut is absolutely perfect. I wake up every day with a lot of energy. I haven't noticed any differences whatsoever since I've been on the carnivore diet. So I'm hoping you guys get an awful lot of value out of this podcast. I think you will. Um, because we're going to be, as I said, we're going to be covering a lot of topics on what you guys need to hear. Um, but hopefully it changes pretty much a few of your mind. So that pretty much concludes our first podcast. I'm super excited to get started on this. So please subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we will continue to add more value to this podcast as soon as possible. So, other than that, Victoria, let's get started.
Well, thank you. That's a wonderful testimonial. Thank you, Mark.